Welcome, everyone. Jennifer Henczel here of the Women in Podcasting Show. And today we're going to be talking about self-care, the superpower you need to prevent burnout. And I have the amazing Dr. Tamara Beckford with me. She's an emergency medicine physician, international speaker, and CEO of You Are Caring Docs, where she helps companies reduce employee burnout through self-care. And she hosts the Dr. Tamara Beckford Show and has interviewed over 180 physicians. And the podcast ranks in the top 5% of podcasts, and her content has been viewed over 1 million times on social media. She's also co-authored 2 best-selling books, Made for More and Thriving After Burnout.
Welcome to the Women in Podcasting Show. Enjoy inspiring stories, interesting interviews, and powerful strategies from women around the world. Jennifer Henczel spotlights today's top podcasters, new podcasters, and expert guests. Get tips for leveling up your life, gaining visibility, growing your business, monetizing your podcast, and so much more. We invite you to support women in finding their voice and sharing their passion. It's all about women empowering women.
Welcome, Dr. Tamara Beckford. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on your show.
Oh, I really appreciate all that you do in the Women in Podcasting group. You have so much to share about self-care. And I also want to find out about your podcasting journey. Tell us about your podcast and why you started your podcast.
Absolutely. I am like most people who you have all this great ideas, but you're afraid to let it out there because we're always afraid we're being judged. Am I saying the right thing? Will I say the wrong thing? Will I seem less knowledgeable if I let out what's in my head out? So actually, I started the journey because I wanted to educate others on medical information. And then the podcast is kind of morphed into something on its own, which is a lot like what happens. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people's podcasts, this occurred. So after really highlighting some medical information, then it morphed into me talking with a lot of colleagues about, their journey. And then I said, why am I just highlighting just medical information? We're so much more multifaceted as physicians. So I really morphed into highlighting all the great and amazing things that physicians are doing inside and outside of clinical medicine. And as a part of that, because self-care is such an important platform for me, I always find out what are they doing for self-care so that the audience can know that, okay, yeah, physicians, we're doing the same thing and we're just like you. Like some physicians hate exercising, but we're like, okay, I know I need to do this, so let me just get this out of the way. But it's not, that is something that I truly enjoy. And, the average person feels the same way. So isn't it amazing to know your doctors are thinking just like you? So yeah, that's why I did the podcast.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, let's dive into some of your self-care tips then. So tell us a little bit about burnout and stressors, because I know as an entrepreneur, there was a time when I totally burnt out and I was not managing my time well. I wasn't doing any self-care. And so I've learned, to become a master of my schedule and to incorporate self-care, but we can always learn more. So tell us about burnout and stressors, because a lot of entrepreneurs and podcasters have encountered this.
Absolutely. And with everyone who's dedicated to a craft, you'll be very close to burning out because you're going to give so much to that craft. You're going to give so much to your entrepreneurship journey because as an entrepreneur, you're trying to better the world with your business. And the same thing with podcasting, you're giving. So burnout really is the 3 Ds, if we really bring it back to Sesame Street, right? What are the 3 Ds? So one is really depletion. So you are just emotionally exhausted. Why? You have given. And oh, yes. Oh, this will be great for my audience. Oh, this will really be a great idea. It's 2:30 in the morning. You get up to use the restroom. Oh, wait, I need to write this down, right? You're constantly given. So depletion is one thing that's one of the things that can lead to burnout. The second is detachment. So now you've given so much that have you ever gotten to a point in your business where you're starting to just not like your business. That's depletion. Why? Because you've gotten emotionally exhausted. And to keep in mind also, burnout, and these are by definition. Those are the three definitions so far, right? So depletion and detachment. The burnout is always towards your work. I know we talk about burnout by traditional definition. These are the way you feel towards your work. The third D is really that you have lost or have a decreased sense of accomplishment in your work. So you're doing a great job. You're doing an amazing job. People are saying, oh my gosh, your podcast changed my life. Oh my God, your business changed my life. I'm so glad I'm working with you. And in your mind, you're like, yeah, they're just saying that. I wasn't really able to deliver as well as I wanted to. I don't think that it really made that much of a difference in that person's life. So you're having a decreased sense of accomplishment in your work. So despite me telling you how amazing you are, in your mind, you're like, I'm just okay. And so all of this is really internalized, and it leads eventually towards another D, which can be depression, which is now a mental health, right? So with burnout, it's really a lot of emotional state, and then it can lead to the mental health state, which is really the deeper, darker side, the depression that can also spiral towards the word that we don't want, which is like, suicide attempt and suicidal ideation. So why are we talking about this? Is it to depress everyone? Absolutely not. There are ways that we can try to avoid burnout. And one way is through self-care. And that's why it's so important. And that's why this whole topic here is so important. Now, as a business owner, an entrepreneur, as a podcaster, you're like, self-care, yeah, I know it's important. It's so great. I'm going to every time I hit this particular milestone, I'm going to throw myself a big event. Yeah, that's not self-care. That's rewarding yourself for hitting your milestone. Self-care is really helping you to avoid and to increase your mental and your physical health, right? So what are things that you can do on a consistent basis in order to avoid getting depleted, detachment, and a decreased sense of worth in your job or your workplace? So little things that you can do throughout the day, very small things. Think about, what is it that truly makes me happy? And I always ask people, what is it that you think of when you were just the happiest? And a lot of time that's around when you were 7 years old. 7-year-old Tamara. I mean, I was really carefree. I had a lot, any little thing that I wanted to do. If I felt like drawing today, I would draw. If I felt like painting, I would paint. If I felt like reading this fun book, I would read it. But now with my life being so structured, I haven't put any of that. I forgot what I liked to do. So self-care is bringing you back. What is something that you like doing that makes you free, that frees your mind from your current stressors? And you can really incorporate that for 15 minutes a day. Is it that you like dancing? For me, if you've listened to any of my interviews, you know I love Bruno Mars. I can sing a Bruno Mars song for 15 minutes. And yes, I'm singing 24 karat magic or, all these things like today, I'm just not doing anything. And Bruno Mars will not have me on stage with him, but I enjoy listening to him. And you know what it does? Immediately my stress level goes down. So that's part of my self-care. And I can do 15 minutes a day. I can read something that's just entertaining. I can read something or write anything that's in my mind, a creative idea that has nothing directly to do with my job. It doesn't have anything to do with my podcasting. It doesn't have anything to do with medicine, but it just really brings me joy. And that's self-care.
Oh, wow. Those are amazing tips. Thank you. Yeah, that's really incredible. So how would you suggest podcasters and entrepreneurs can, if they haven't been doing any self-care, what's the first step they should take?
Great question. And this happens a lot. You're like, oh my God, I haven't been doing anything. Like now she wants me to go paint. Absolutely not. I want you to think about what brings you joy. And a great way to start about that is the act of gratitude. The act of gratitude. So sit and think, what am I grateful for right now? because our mind is going to tell us all the things that's not going right and all the things that you need to get done. But if I sit and say, you know what, today I'm really grateful to be able to spend the time with one of my fellow podcasting women group members, you know, and even just say that out loud, I can feel how it affects me emotionally. And I'm already in a state where I'm feeling more positive. And then all the physiological things with stressors start to reverse, right? So my heart rate already started to go down. I already felt myself taking a nice deep breath. So my muscles are relaxed, the tension's going down. So that's a great place to start. If you have not, if you're a journal person and you like to write and it's something that you haven't done in a while, you can start writing it down. Write down, start journaling things. If you're a person who's a movement person, you know what? Play your jam, close the door, and dance like no one's watching. These are just simple. If you're a person that likes to meditate and you haven't done so in a while, deep breathing. Very simple, and nobody needs to know. You're right at your desk. You can turn everything off and take a deep breaths. Do even a 3 to 5 minute deep breathing exercise. It does wonders. So why does it do wonders? So we all have that sympathetic, which is the fight or flight response, that we are constantly in that mode. Doing the deep breathing exercises and incorporating these self-care, it breaks it and put it back to the rest and restorative portion of your body's cycle. And that alone is so powerful. And it really helps with the flow of creativity, which is everything that you wanted anyway. And you're doing that using your body's natural way. So you're breaking and getting rid of that adrenaline rush and bringing it to the restorative part of your mind.
Wow. Incredible. That's a lot of amazing information.
Mm-hmm.
I really love, we do a lot of walking.
Yes.
Walking really helps in nature.
And walking, and okay, I know. So guys, you have to remember, so Jennifer, she's interviewing a doctor, so we get geeked out. So here are some great important things about what you just mentioned. So walking is a very powerful way. It also stimulates creativity. So you've noticed some people started having walking meetings, right? So instead of really having meetings that you're sitting down, you can walk and it stirs the creativity and the ideas begin to flow. Another powerful thing about even walking, when you talked about in nature, so walking and being around nature, even if it's just for up to 3 days, so if you did a 3-day weekend, it boosts your immune system just by going out in nature. I mean, this is just so powerful, little small steps. And who doesn't need a great immune system to deal with all the viruses that are going around now, right? But just those small little steps can have a big impact. And that's your self-care.
Oh, that's some great information. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And is this the kind of information that you share on your show?
So on my show, I actually have people who, yes, so the information about the walking in in immunotherapy, I have one of my wonderful guests from Japan. So Dr. Minako Abe gave me that great information. Yes. And walking and nature. So yes, we get a lot of this wonderful information from the doctors who are doing great things. So they're doing research. We have doctors who, have opened up practices, doctors who are using, combining alternative medicine with traditional medicine to help to treat their cancer. So they're giving us their personal cancer journeys and what they've done. I know. I said, I love hearing the stories, and I think these stories inspire so many. And you get it from the perspective of someone who has been through this and someone who you'd say, well, I didn't think that you would have accepted this type of alternative treatment. I thought that you guys, AKA us doctors, didn't do that. But yes, the stories are amazing. And these are the stories that I get to highlight on my podcast.
Oh, that's incredible. So how have you enjoyed your podcasting journey? I mean, how has it changed your business or your life or anything like that?
Wonderful question. I have thoroughly enjoyed the journey. It was a journey. It was February of 2021 when I started this, and I was so afraid. I had been thinking about it from October of 2020, but was just afraid, and finally bit the bullet in February 2021. And I started interviewing guests in July. And to date, I've interviewed 187 doctors. It's just a huge, and they're from all over the world. It's inspiring. For my business, yes, my business is outside of that. I help organizations to reduce their stress and burnout through self-care workshops. I get to really pull together the stories from these wonderful doctors to inspire those who are working, and not to say that, okay, well, us doctors, we did it so you can do it. No, to say like, we are also going through it. And these are some of the techniques that we use. And my mantra is I would love to inspire those outside of the healthcare industry, the other industries, with what I'm learning in the healthcare industries. So those who are in the finance, those who are in the legal industries, education industries, everything, all the other industries that at times people forget burnout. When they think burnout, they always think doctors and nurses, but people in so many industries are dealing with it. So I like to highlight them and to bring what I'm learning in the medical field and to their industries so that we can help everyone.
Wow, what a brilliant resource. So thank you for everything you do. And I just want to ask now, I'll have the links to your podcast in the show notes at womeninpodcasting.show. And so everybody can find all the links to Dr. Tamara there. But also, Dr. Tamara, you're a very active member in the Women in Podcasting group, which we so appreciate. And so now you're a guest on other people's podcasts as well, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I love being a guest on other podcasts. So if you're out there and you're looking for a guest, me. So, I get to speak. Not only it's powerful in so many ways. One, we know that there's so many people who have been dealing with stress, who are dealing, and even women. A lot of times I do, and I remember highlighting a lot of what we as women go through. And sometimes now I'm so glad that the men are recognizing it and saying it out loud. So I'm seeing this more why is it that us women, we burn out more than our male colleagues? Because we give. So we give at work, we give at home. We have the additional titles, mom, we have sister, and then we're daughters. Right? And then, so we're in the sandwich generation. We're just really giving a lot. So as a guest on another podcast, I really get to highlight how important it is for us to incorporate and to build our own and within ourselves, such as putting the mask on first, or like another of the guests on my podcast told me, she says she gives from the saucer ministry. And I thought, brilliant. What is the saucer ministry? So if you think about your cup and your saucer, once your cup overflows, everything else is in the saucer. So she gives from that, right? And I've learned how to do that myself. And being a guest on the other podcast, I get to really talk about how I give from my saucer ministry and ways that they can also give from their saucer ministries.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for everything you've shared. So many great tips. And thank you for being in the Women in Podcasting community. Connection is so important. It's part of this self-care too. We need to connect with each other as women and lift each other up and support one another. So thank you so much for being here to share those amazing tips and all that good information with our Women in Podcasting and everything you do. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye for now.